Sebastian, did you pay my Scientology dues? Doesn't look like it. You know he's gonna call, right? He already did. Play the voicemail. Oh my God.
We are creating thousands of jobs. I don't ever want to see it again. Ever. And if you don't do it, you're fired. And I see you do it again, you're gone. And you, if you ever do it again. That's it. No apologies. So I'm sorry, I'm beyond your apologies. I have told you, and now I want it. And if you don't do it, you're out. Is it understood?
Yes, Tom.
If I see it again, you're gone.
Sebastian, pay the bill now. Welcome to the Benben Show. I hope everyone's having a lovely day. I know I am. We have a lot to talk about today, but first, how about a word from our sponsors? This episode of the Benben Show is sponsored by Pfizer's BioNTech COVID-19 vaccine, which tells your body to produce the same spike protein found in the COVID-19 virus itself. Fantastic. We're getting ready to get out of this quarantine, get back to normal. Sounds good. We're also sponsored by the UK Ministry of Health, which just recently has discovered an alternative strain of the COVID-19 virus, which may be impervious to the Pfizer vaccine itself. Lovely. Maybe we're not out of the woods. I don't know. Screw it. Fuck it, right? Yay. More bullshit. More lockdown after lockdown. Because after all, one lockdown doesn't work. We need another one. We need another one. That's not, the definition of insanity. No, that's just standard protocol. It's like brute force. Just make it work, even though it's not working. Just make it work. I don't know, Jake Paul's right hand jab to Floyd Mayweather hitting air. Eventually it's gonna land. Yeah, what you got? Sucker. Cracker? Can't go there. I want to read an excerpt from Dr. Jill Biden's dissertation, which I found really interesting. 3/4, this is a quote from Jill Biden's dissertation titled Recess Studies and African American Persecution in the Elementary School Setting. Recess Studies and African American Persecution in the Elementary School Setting. Okay, fine. And I quote, 3/4 of the class will be Caucasian. 1/4 of the class will be African American. The remaining seats will be students of Asian descent or non-resident aliens. 3/4 white, 1/4 black. Rest. What other? Where's the math? Where's the math there, Jill? I don't trust people with recess studies doctorates. Recess for me was just 15 minutes. 15 minutes of the entire day? You need a doctorate in that? I don't trust it. I don't trust it. Oh my. A lot of spelling errors in her dissertation. Weird non sequiturs too. Can't go into that. It's too much. I can't make it all about her, right? If we do that, it does the opposite, which is bring out supporters and all these bots on the web that are going to support her and President-elect Biden. One thing I want to talk about, I couldn't believe this the other day. A Colorado couple. So United Airlines has a policy where children 2 and under are not required to wear a mask. Or not inclusive of 2. Under 2 are not required to wear a mask. This child was 2 on the dot, maybe 2 in a couple months. Colorado couple, good looking couple too, like that wife. No. I don't know what that, I shouldn't say that. Was escorted off a United Airlines flight after the 2-year-old child refused to wear a mask. Here, play this.
We just got kicked off the flight because our 2-year-old would not put on a mask.
I mean, it's gross. It's a little gross because what are you talking about here? They know they have the birth certificate of the child, right? They know the child obviously doesn't have a driver's license. They know it's 2 and some. Come on, the child's refused. The parents are not being. This is ridiculous. from a viral standpoint of like, what do you call it? R-naught ratios. What's the difference? If it's 18 months or it's 2, just leave them alone. Use some judgment, flight attendants. United Airlines has not had the best history.
Oh, this is wrong. Oh my God. Look at what you did to him.
That's Dr. David Dow being dragged off United Airlines flight. That's insane. I just, come on, use your brain. Like, let's calm down here. If you're gonna allow children at all not to wear a mask, whether because of practical purposes, like a child just refusing, just being annoying because they're this whine, cry, difficult to control, just like any other child, making them like cover their face. Jeez, like, why 2? Make the threshold like 6, or make it none at all. Just say, no, you have to get a nanny. You can't fly. Sorry, tough shit. No flying with that child. Wear a mask or nothing at all. Because you can't 2. It's just so arbitrary. And to be exclusive of that number, it should be like 2 and under, not under 2. Come on, what are you doing, people? You're exposing people to the virus anyway with a 2-year-old. What's the difference? This doesn't make any sense at all. I don't get it. Oh, man. Hackers broke into the networks of the Treasury and Commerce Departments as part of a global cyber espionage campaign. They accessed those networks by slipping malware into SolarWinds software, according to the global security firm FireEye, which is also compromised. SolarWinds says it has 300,000 customers worldwide, including 5 branches of the U.S. military: Pentagon, State Department, NASA, NSA, Department of Justice, and the White House. It says that the 10 leading U.S. telecommunications companies and top 5 U.S. accounting firms are also among customers. Wow. Imagine if Trump had fired Chris Krebs, the head of Director of Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security at Homeland, if it was because of this and not because of the election. That would be hilarious. Krebs today is still insisting this is the most secure election ever. We'll get into that in a second. YouTube, oh my God, it's unbelievable. There's ridiculous censorship going on. And it's so, there's just no way that there's some person doing, how do you substantiate what is, they're not even saying, it's not even proof. You can't allege anything. I can't allege that we didn't fly to the moon. No, of course I can. I can allege that the CIA killed Kennedy. Of course I can. I can allege that Russians colluded with Trump in the 2016 election. It's all over YouTube. But we'll get to that. I just, unbelievable. This is the guy that should just be working on Windows XP2 for Microsoft. He's a complete bungler. It's all political. It's amazing how many people see a money grab when they leave Trump's cabinet or anything that's currently being, in the turnover process for the Biden administration. They're just like, you know what? I could probably get $500,000 at least of free publicity from this firing. Just all I have to do is trash Trump and go on CNN. No big deal. Why not? Why not? Now, it's interesting. He does clarify that the election's the most secure from an external standpoint. That is to say, from a foreign actor standpoint, not internal fraud. The caveat being, oh well, if Democrats colluded and committed fraud, that's a criminal matter is entirely different than international espionage. Is it? So you're saying, oh well, the Dominion voting machines could technically be compromised, but that's an internal problem. Russia definitely didn't. We're not involved in this one. No, they're all about 2016. They totally. It's just so manipulative, so biased, so weird. It's such so early in the findings. Like let's let this play out. This is the reality of the Electoral College and the problem with the allegations of fraud. You have the election on the 3rd, and then you have 2 months basically to convince a bunch of people that something terrible happened. Even if it did, there's not enough time. This is a very imperfect system that we live in. There's no way to convince. You have to go to court. You have to get to court. You have to do this and that, and then also, as a justice or someone involved in the lower court system, imagine accepting that case and holding up the entire process. No one's gonna like you. No private sector jobs for you from the Democrats. Big tech's not going to give you a job at Google, paying $1 million a year to do nothing because you have a poli-sci degree from Harvard. Why do they need you? in a lobby for Google. It's amazing how many people leave politics and go work in big tech. It's like, well, what do you do? Do you know how to code? No. Do you know how to do it? No. I'm just going to convince Congress that what you're doing is fine. It's so like superficial, surface level. It's not really substantive. But what it is, I think more importantly in terms of value proposition, is that the politician has a job that pays way more money than they would ever receive otherwise for their tenure as a politician in the private sector. And so the leverage game is, I better not piss off these potential clients and future employers in like 10 years from now or 15 years or whatever when I leave politics and enter the private sector, or worse yet, where I'm forced to leave politics because of a scandal like my penis showing during a masturbatory episode on Zoom, like Jeffrey Tobin. You know, something like that. He's kind of like a pundit / politician in a way. Jeffrey is kind of playing the side as this, you know, I don't know what I want to do with my life, blah, 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 blah. But, he even paid for an abortion. Like, he wanted to pay a woman to get an abortion, and then he'd pay for her artificial insemination from a donor as long as it wasn't his child. Basically saying, I don't want to pay child support. You want to get pregnant? Do it with some other guy's sperm. Thank you. Here's $2 million. Actually, no. She got money from him. There's no money like that for her. She got the child support, and he was going to pay for, I don't know, 10 grand for an abortion, and then what, 5,000, 10,000, provided she has no complications from artificial insemination. It shouldn't cost more than 25,000. Way cheaper than alimony or child support. Way cheaper. My dad's fourth wife got a $2.5 million house and a $3 million settlement. Yeah. Her claim to fame was her ex-husband was Ralph Lipschitz, Ralph Lauren's business partner. And she's allegedly a Windsor or some relation to Princess Diana in some way, I don't know. And she tried out for the girl in Jaws that like swim out to the buoy. He said, let's go swimming when she's naked, but they didn't like her because of her accent. But they did like her because of her boobs. I once walked in on her naked. Good boobs. I actually slept in her bed with her when I had a bad dream when I was younger. That was weird because I was like kind of like too old to do that. It wasn't like pervert wise, but my dad's like, just let him sleep with you. I gotta, you know, he's scared. But I wasn't like 5. It was creepy. Maybe over 10. It's getting weird. Oh, so weird. Oh, so weird. You know the weird things that happen, like this stuff you just don't talk about people. I just exposed that. It's weird. It happened once. Also, another time, my half brother wanted me to like stand on his back while I did push-ups, and then I peed on me, so my brother was tickling me, and then my dad came in and spanked me. I'm pretty sure I was over 10 when that happened too. This is like little, just not, you know, just late bloomer in terms of inappropriate things, I guess. I don't know. I think that same night, my pocket knife bounced off my bed, and then my brother landed on it with his foot. It was a rough night. I think our tutor, when my brother broke his elbow and had to get growth plate surgery immediately in the hospital because of like, you know, where the break was located. I think the tutor for like classical studies or something that I had, I don't know, something like my dad just wanted me to take classes when I was in school. It wasn't for credits. Bizarre. My dad's weird. And she like, my stepsister at the time, or stepsister, was getting into stuffed animal, and the tutor was like just raising me for not getting like a different stuffed animal or a different item, like here she's bringing a stuffed animal. Well, we don't have flowers. What am I supposed to bring him? I don't. You want to stop at a store and get him like an action figure? Why? She's like, no. Well, she got him a stuffed animal. It's not the same stuffed animal. So she has a zebra. I got a lion. What's the problem here? Gosh, she was so annoying. I remember this. It's so weird. Oh my god, I just go on a rant of all this inappropriate stuff. I'm not going to though. I'm not going to. Way too weird. Where were we? Yeah, so that. Trump considering clemency for Russ Ulbricht, the Silk Road founder, which I think is great because cocaine has not been the same without him. Federal executions are down 29-year low. It's wonderful, I guess. I suppose, yes, good thing, unless you did something really, really naughty. Pornhub has just purged unverified content from its platform soon after MasterCard and Visa elected to drop the company entirely. And it's really frustrating. That's annoying. Why can't you just use like a bot? Like, we don't use those people for credit card processing. Use a third party trick them. I don't know. Maybe that's not fair. They consider that like fraudulent. I don't know. On Monday, 9 a.m., the search bar is showing only 4.7 million views, meaning Pornhub removed most of the videos on its site, including the most viewed non-verified amateur video, which has more than 29 million videos. Yeah, I am a big, a lot of the amateur stuff is preferred because it's real. And not that it's not effectual in the sense that it wasn't produced by people, but it's like, it's not like produced by like a company. It's like people producing their house. It's more visceral and like, I don't know. It's like the more real something is, the more like naughty it is in a way, I guess. It's like not fake. It's almost like the two people want to be there, not getting paid. That might be it. Even though the people that making the video send it in might be for that reason to get paid, right? But I think there's an alternative or another possibility as to why this is happening other than like sex trafficking, obviously, which is a terrible thing. Not just sex trafficking of minors, but people who are like coerced into performing sexual acts without their permission. I think that might be a ruse. A lot of sex workers since COVID have gone through hell trying to, they've gone through hell since Backpage is closed. They've gone through hell with numerous sites being shut down for their ads. They're normal sex workers that just want to, do their thing, blowjobs for whatever, and yada, yada, yada. And that's how they make their living. And they're kind of empowering themselves as women, even though the other side of the coin says this is the objectification of women. Which I think is interesting because there's the whole other side of this is like, well, in the porn industry, women get paid way more than men. No one ever talks about that. And in modeling, women, supermodels and everything else get way more. Like David Gandy is the Gisele Bundchen or whoever of the male modern industry. He doesn't get it's not even close. He's not getting $25 million a year, maybe $1 million. It's rough, man. It's rough. It's and then there's the objectification of men in porn. They're just a penis. I don't know. And then there's still the same selling in the male modeling industry of that handsome guy wears that cologne, so I should wear it, which is the same idea behind look how beautiful she is in that dress. Oh, look at my legs. They similar to hers. Maybe I can wear that and pull it off. Or if I want to be beautiful, this is the body dysmorphia talking. If I want to be as beautiful as her as a woman, I need to get that dress. Nothing to do with her as how gorgeous she is with or without that dress or wearing Target clothes. She still looks gorgeous. If I get the dress, I'm as beautiful as her. Same for the man. So if I just get these cool jacket, or if I buy these cool $250 headphones from Apple, I'll get a blowjob from a high school school. I don't know, something like that. Nothing about maskly or sexy. No one can tell how good looking you are with or without it on. It is kind of cool. You might, I guess in LA and other places like that, you could be deemed a celebrity if everything but your face, if you wear glasses and the mask. I think if you wear sunglasses with the mask, you look like you're trying to hide something, like you're a celebrity. So if you want people to treat you better, like, right this way, sir, maybe you should wear sunglasses. Do I have any sunglasses here? I don't. Maybe you should wear some sunglasses with a mask. It's a little much. There's no face showing. I don't know. It might be on purpose. I don't know, probably. I remember when I was at a hotel with a good-looking girl from college. The staff that was coming in to clean were like las estrellas, like the stars. I'm like, oh, that's so complimentary. I really appreciate that. But no, I'm not that good-looking. And she is a psychotic bitch. No, well, yeah, she was really not a good person. But my mom had just died, so what are you gonna do? Could have been, I don't know. All right, moving on. So I think there could be something going on with the sex industry, like Pornhub. I don't want, to interfere with, like, the law and protecting women, but I do have a feeling there might be this proposal, the government's always trying to tax them, of a sin tax. I know in India they're trying to throttle part of the internet and make people pay a Progovian tax for a completely wide open internet, that basically the telecom company has to pay a higher tax and therefore they charge you as the end consumer a higher rate per month to access all of the internet. This goes to the idea that's happening of net neutrality in the United States. But there just seems to be this overwhelming thing of we're doing all this for sex trafficking and it's all about sex trafficking. It's all about sex trafficking. Yeah, I don't know that that's true. It's almost like there might be trying to streamline the sex industry. Maybe they're trying to streamline it for big tech with AI, sex robots. They're trying to pave the way and clear out the riffraff because it's just, I don't know, like what made the internet possible, like really spread. There's a lot of primary theories, like to what propelled the internet from the very beginning. Even Claude Shannon's work at Bell Labs and compression algorithms for internet usage in the future were used as base primers. But in terms of marketing and actually getting things to go, it was the sex industry. It was selling porn. Porn was a huge part of like the boom from like 1996 onwards. And maybe the deep state in collusion with big tech is trying to do the same thing, like clear out the riffraff, streamline everything. Because if you verify your posts, that means all the amateur stuff's going away. It's not as fun, and you have this huge barrier to entry where you have to basically tell people who you really are to post a video, and no one wants to do that. That's kind of the point. Same thing happened with Joe Rogan's podcast. Every proxy, every wall you put up, even if it's just the difference between going online and going to youtube.com and going to Spotify, downloading the app, making an account, those steps are just too much for some people when the alternative is way easier. And then it forces you into a box where you have to do these things. You're categorized now. It's not free flowing. It's not like the MySpace to Facebook. It's more throttled down and controlled. And then maybe they control certain content. Maybe they start saying what you can and can't do. And maybe I don't know. Maybe they say you have to file out a tax form every time you upload it. All this, and it could all just be for sex robots because Google's about to come out with sex robots. They already love keeping us at home. What reason do men really have to go to a bar anyway, or to go out at all? Sex. But if you have sex at home, you can just have sex with your robot at home, order Chinese food off Amazon, order your robot cleaning products off Amazon, and then never leave. And just have this like robot that tells you how amazing you are as you get fat, bald, and I don't know, I guess I don't know. The gym, like why do you get people stuck going to the gym? Well, a sex robot that says you're great at anyway. That's it, really. I mean, like what do we really spend money on as men? On our significant other and traveling and all this stuff. Imagine you don't have to pay for that anymore. It's all at home through Amazon's like Total Recall with your sex robot physically whenever you want to play that game. Maybe in your virtual reality world, you're really handsome and fit. And then when you want to play that like Donald Trump having sex with a supermodel thing with your fat, ugly, slovenly body in real life, that's when you have sex with your robot at home. Or maybe you wear a visor and your body looks really awesome and your sex robot's like physically giving you a blowjob and you think that it's like your dick's bigger and the point of view, POV, is like different from your visor's perspective and it's all through Amazon technology. You're welcome. The future really just... Technology sucks. It's not a good thing. It's not like a benefit. It's really like id, right? Like look what I'm talking about. It's just like I would never use Tinder or any of those apps. Like I never do that ever. Believe in like going to a coffee shop and meeting someone and you see their eyes and you're like, oh my god, that person's amazing. You find out 2 months later you have all this stuff in common. It's like, how did I know like that you were the one? I mean, I could just be like, she's the most beautiful girl in the room. Maybe objectively she is. Maybe you have the balls to go up to her and there's part of that's just simple and your extroverted nature plays well with her introversion. I'm being way too specific about things about him. I don't know. But I don't know, man. It's like, ooh, I found this girl. She's 6 blocks away. Oh, she wants to, and then like you just playing you because she's lonely. Like 90% of people in those things just want to talk because they feel good about themselves. It's not about sex. It's also like, ugh. I don't know. It's so vile. I hate the way this world is. Technology is gross. Technology is gross. Yeah, but let's go to talk about the YouTube. Let's talk about the censorship. YouTube wants to remove content, or is going to remove content from September 8th on, I think, that alleges widespread election fraud in the 2020 election. But it's not going to remove content about, as I said, the moon landings, aliens, the Russian collusion with Trump in the 2016 election, or any allegations of fraud therein. You remember, what's his name, from John Oliver on HBO, a huge story about possible voting machine compromising facts right after the 2016 election. It was very objective, very, very good. It could easily apply to 2020. And now he's saying that it's ridiculous to accuse the Democrats of fraud. Fine. Or the machines themselves of being manipulated or hacked, which is just ridiculous because all you do is apply his video to now.
And two, Congress passed the Help America Vote Act, offering states $3.9 billion to help administer federal elections and buy new voting equipment, which sounds great. But the then chair of the Election Assistance Commission, which distributed funding for the new machines, realized that there was a problem immediately.
I was forced to send $2.3 billion to the 50 states to buy equipment, even though the equipment was not ready to be bought.
So why'd you do it?
We had to do it. We begged Congress, let us do the research before we send the money, and Congress said no.
So the politicians knew these machines wouldn't work.
The politicians don't care. Washington believes that the machines can't be that bad because, after all, it produced them. So if they won the race, how bad can the machine be?
The machine can't be bad because it produced me. That is some faulty logic right there. It's like saying reverse cowgirl is the best sex position because it gave us Abraham Lincoln. I mean, it absolutely did. That's just a fact. But correlation does not equal causation. And reverse cowgirl does not equal Abraham Lincoln unless you're one of these two fuck machines. Look, he brought the log, she brought the cabin. That's just a history fact that I'm not willing to argue about. So, states rushed to buy electronic voting machines before they were ready to be bought. And there were already some red flags. One machine in Iowa had 300 ballots fed into it and somehow produced 4 million votes. And to meet the demand, at least one company outsourced production of the machines. And as reporters later found, quality controls were sometimes close to non-existent.
Maraming bansa na hindi nakakaalam na sa Pilipinas nanggagaling ang voting machine.
Vibar says he worked on thousands of voting machines shipped to the United States with what he says was virtually no testing done on them. Originally, a fraction of the machines underwent a so-called vibration test. And what was this quality control test?
Sinishake nila yung machine.
Yeah, that's it. They tested the machine by shaking it. Which is weird, because the only time you should ever shake a voting machine is when you're voting for Jill Stein, in which case, that's actually how you do it. You walk in, you shake the machine, and you leave. Trust me, the machine will totally record your vote for Jill Stein, just like you and I both want it to. That clip is actually from 2007, but a shocking number of machines bought back then are still in use. And aging machines can be a real problem. Some counties have found that the glue holding the touchscreen can degrade, meaning that over the years, the screen can slip out of place and register votes incorrectly. And the danger isn't just machines going wrong by accident. There is also the threat of someone gaining control of them for their own ends, because voting machines are technically computers, and computers, of course, are hackable. And it can be far easier to control a machine than you might expect, as this hacker demonstrates on a model currently used in at least 18 states.
All they have to do, this bad actor, would be to open up this machine by pressing this button right here. When it's off, removing the card reader, removing this, you don't need any tools to do this. Unplugging this, again, you don't need any tools to do this. Turning it on, all you have to do is pick this lock here with a ballpoint pen. Open this up, press the red button, and we're gonna let it boot up here. Just click cancel and OK. And now I have full admin access, under 2 minutes.
Holy shit! That should have been a lot more difficult. You want hacking into a voting machine to be at least as difficult as breaking into Fort Knox, which...
It's amazing how many people forget what it was like in 2016, and it's nutty. And this goes to like my idea of like what Twitter is, what social media is, the amount of bots or fake accounts or just PR machines that make it look like this is what the populace is thinking. The trending stuff could just be manipulated to manipulate the public. The same reason behind Google search engine being paid, like, the DoD giving them money. It's like, let's see if we can like think ahead of what people are gonna think and manipulate the public, kind of through like Operation Mockingbird, changing the way, using propaganda to manipulate the public in a very simple way, but like using the internet for that. It's kind of like what's happening. You don't know what's real, you don't know what's not, and you think that, oh, the populace believes X, Y, and Z. But then you look at like the ARPU, annual revenue per user, and the daily average users for Twitter are starting to like split. And that's because so many of the users are fake. There should be a huge purge that goes on at Twitter and some of these other, like Facebook as well. Just like, it's purged this fake shit. I know they've purged a lot of fake accounts on Facebook recently, but Twitter seems to be the biggest. Like, they have like these smart bots that have a conversation with you and talk shit about you all day long, and you think it's a person. You're so certain it's a person. If you try to engage someone in a conversation, and like you are highbrow with your speech patterns, you use good language. The bot almost like identifies you as a threat. If you don't, they'd ignore you. But if you I've had someone tell me, "Are you sure? Like, is that a person I'm talking to, or is it a bot?" And they did like background on it. They worked at Politico and they did some research. Like, no, that's actually a fake bot. Like, how is it talking to me like this? It's amazing. I'm like, it criticized where I went. I told them like where I went to school, like grad school, my curriculum, and my whole background. And they're like, "Oh, I don't believe you." Like, it was so dead on. I'm like, what is this? This is weird. I can't. This is a little while ago. This is like a year or two. I don't engage with this anymore. It's so fake. I know it's fake. I know my shirts. It's like, what kind of making me? Like I told you the other guy on Instagram that always messes with his collar when he's like doing his like smoking a cigar in like I don't know, Paris or Italy at like some cool like Portofino, and just like, I'm amazing, buy my shit. But he's always fixing his collar. Like, doesn't work well when you're trying to sell your shit. Like, oh, it's annoying, very annoying. By the way, what am I wearing? I'm wearing, what is this? This is a Brioni handscarf. This is a Paul Stewart jacket, doe skin, which seems a little, actually it's perfect for this time of year. Sometimes I've worn it when it's really hot out, so it's weird. But I love their doe skin jackets. Yeah, just a blazer. And this is Ike Behar. Ike Behar. I'm not a huge fan. It kind of feels a little starchy. But I have one of his shirts. You can give some variety, throw it in there. I don't know. Never going to be a shirt guy for bespoke or mass production, because they end up being like, there's always these errors. Your favorite things are never like if you had like 1,000, if you had a machine that was perfectly calibrated to make like a t-shirt that fit your body the way you want it. Not directly to your body, because that would enhance things you don't even want to enhance. Even if you have a perfect figure, it would look too sprayed on and like kind of like, look at me. Even if you have the perfect calibration, there's going to be errors, and some of the shirts will fit better than others. Some of them will stretch better than others. Some of them will be like be shrunk more, and it's just these, so like, it's the whole idea of like custom this, or we noticed that your left arm is a little longer than your right, so we're gonna adjust. No, don't do that. That's fucking nuts. It's probably just because of my posture. It's chill. Some asshole at a store that's like a master tailor that knows that. Come on, dude. You don't know shit. It's just the way I slouch. You're not a computer. Just chill. So never gonna get custom made shirts. I don't know why I went down on that diet tangent, but it's probably because this stuff's a little intense. I get frustrated with censorship. I get frustrated with the throttling of anything, or a third party, bureaucracy involving itself in the free market at all, whether that's porn stars, male models, YouTube. Again, I feel like YouTube should be treated as if it's a publishing company, because you can't, just because it's third-party content, they should be held responsible for that, and they also should be held responsible for the throttling of information for the sake of binary purposes or subjective purposes or alternative pretenses, because it just doesn't make any sense. We need to protect people from the idea that there might be why? It's over. The election's done. Who cares? It's like whitewashing history. Oh, we can't let anyone know about this. What? Why would you do this? What is the end? It's so dangerous. Dangerous for what? For what? What could be more dangerous than telling people to stay home and like blocking their jobs and like forcing them to to lose their life savings by not being able to make money? But you're like, oh, we can't let them talk about, there might be a fraud in 2020 election. It's way too dangerous. I can see it being dangerous for the mob mentality. Like getting people to come together and be like, this is bullshit. COVID's a fucking joke. Herd immunity. Let's just go out and live our lives. Fuck what people are telling us. Felons can't hold guns. That's unconstitutional. Let's fucking rock out, man. AR-15s. Woo! I don't know. It's just saying, it doesn't make any sense. Like, when is the rule of law anything more than confidence in the system? And how could we have any confidence in the system when we have rich people flying to Stephen Adler flying to Cabo and telling people to stay home, or Gavin Newsom, fucking Patrick Bateman telling people, oh, I made a mistake. I made a mistake eating that $500 meal inside doors. I should have got up and gone home. Instead, I stayed and enjoyed a fantastic meal at a top restaurant, worldwide top restaurant. And I shouldn't have done that because I tell you guys not to do it. And I'm an asshole. And you shouldn't believe anything I say. But because I'm rich, wealthy, and well-connected, I can do whatever the fuck I want. When does the rule of law apply? It's based off of confidence in the system. And the confidence should be breaking down. As we roll into 2021, we have these fucking, we have this alleged vaccine. Why do we need to be locked down with Biden when he takes office on the 20th? Why do we need to be locked down? Will he take office in this? Well, we'll get into that in a second. I'm probably 99% sure. But why? Why do we have to be locked down until March, April? Why? It doesn't work. It hasn't. We keep doing it. Everyone has to wear a mask. You're gonna mandate it federally? The fuck are you doing? We've been wearing masks, motherfucker. Just showed you the couple dragged off the plane because of a child. What are you talking? What is the deal? How many more people are going to lose their businesses? The debt crisis in this country? Oh my God, I can't even. He's going to forgive all that debt? How are you going to do that? You're only talking about forgiving $50,000 of every, student, what is it? 50 grand of every 150 of back student loan debt. But you have billions of dollars in credit card debt. So this is what's interesting. Charge-offs take months to happen. It takes 6 months for a charge-off. So delinquency rates are rising. Charge-offs this month, not so bad. But that doesn't mean anything. Could just be the people got through till now. And they're going to be charged off in January. This is really dangerous stuff that's happening. We're forcing ourselves to move towards a bigger government to protect us from this ridiculous response to this virus. That alternative, if that other COVID strain, oh my God. Never mind that the COVID people in Australia allegedly get positive tests for HIV because of the mRNA, did some weird thing and false positives. Never mind that the spikes in the testing have been revealed to determine that a majority of them are false positives themselves, and this whole crisis of lockdowns perpetuating themselves could just be based off of poor testing. Never mind all that. Never mind that we have a vaccine that allegedly is supposed to solve our problems. Let's lock people down through 2021. There are people talking about 2022. This is nuts. Oh, you have to show your social security number when you're upload a video of your boyfriend getting head from you. What? No, you should do that. You should be able to do that as you want. There's a wage gap. Well, there's a wage gap for men in the modeling industry and porn industry. Oh, shut the fuck up. That's bad. Can't talk about that. Hey, we didn't land on the moon. I believe it. 2016 election, those damn Russians, right? Hey, what are those Dominion voting machines in 20? You shut the fuck up. You don't talk about that. That is not. It's Voldemort, motherfucker. Voldemort. What the fuck are we doing? Such a weird situation. Antrim, Michigan. This is a conclusion from Antrim, Michigan forensics report on Dominion voting machines, analyzed by Russell Ramsland, who holds an MBA from Harvard. Hell yeah. And a political sci degree from Duke. He has worked with NSA and MIT. Mr. Ramsland and a group called Allied Securities Operations Group concluded that the Dominion voting machine is intentionally and purposefully designed with inherent errors to create systemic fraud and influence election results. The system intentionally generates enormously high number of ballot errors. I'm going to pause this just in case my phone goes to shit. Hold on. Sorry, and we're back. The system intentionally generates an enormously high number of ballot errors. The electronic ballots are then transferred for adjudication. The intentional errors lead to bulk adjudication of ballots with no oversight by hand, no transparency, and no audit trail. Again, they make the computers mess up on purpose and then give it to a human being. And then if those results, based on the tabulation by hand, after the machine is determined to have an error, if that's proved to be inaccurate, all they have to do is say, oh, oops, we made a mistake. It was hand counted. It's pretty good. It's pretty good. It just, like if you look at like plausible deniability, it's unfallible. Think about it, unfallible. Based on our study, we concluded the Dominion voting machine should not be used in Michigan. We further conclude the results of Antrim County should not have been certified. This allowable election error rate established by the Federal Election Commission guidelines is 1 in 250,000, 0.0008%. We observed an error rate of 68.05%. This demonstrated a significant and fatal error in security and election integrity. And YouTube says you can't talk about this. Most of this report is redacted. And I can't help but think what Orwell and Aldous Huxley would say. In fact, I really, as I've mentioned in my last episode, would love to hear what Christopher Hitchens has to say about this. I asked my friend who's friends with Tucker Carlson what he thinks Tucker would say about today. And he kind of just said, it's funny, I was thinking about Tucker the other day. I never really got an answer. This is too much. I thought that we've had cycles of this kind of postmodernist attack on our civility at the collegiate level, and it's kind of stopped. This has become systemic. We can talk about the LA riots in 1990. We can talk about kind of like these. It seems like the internet has really created this mass mob mentality of what is pure, true, honest, and good. And it's hard to differentiate if you are just a person viewing what the populace allegedly believes as, is this what the populace really believes? And then you look at like some of the voting criteria, like or the voting results of like African Americans and minorities, and like how they kind of went away from the left and went more towards Trump in this last election. You have to think to yourself, is this real? And it's not more of the pulp from the TV, like showing rioting, and it's just like the kind of like a superficial way of giving people a sense of empowerment. You create this opportunity, like here, you can throw rocks at this building, blow things up, and not get in trouble. It empowers you. It makes you feel like, wow, really? Yeah. And nothing that's in your life that's unfair or shitty or makes you want to just do heroin all day long is your fault. It's the system's fault. It's capitalism's fault. You have nothing to do with it based on your life choices. It's very empowering. But it's not what people really think. It's not what the majority of people think. And that's the danger, is that we've lost sight of like the left, the progressives, which should be their own party. Like the alt-right should be their own party. The radical, like Proud Boy people should be their own party. Like there's this, we've lost sight of like what's moderate, what that really means. And it's quite possible that this quote unquote radicalization or revolution that's happening in this country is a farce perpetuated by a fake majority that's leading the change. It's just puff pieces online and giving people that otherwise wouldn't have power enormous power, and they're just going to play the narrative over and over again because it's like, why wouldn't they? Al Sharpton, I remember debating Christopher Hitchens. He's not, he's accused of drug trafficking, got away with that. He snitched, amazingly got away with that. He has Reverend in front of his name. He's worth tens of millions of dollars. Because Reverend Jesse Jackson, the same thing. The idea of just like consolidating voting blocks, 10, 15% of the population for the Democratic Party is incredibly valuable. Otherwise, Reverend Jesse Jackson is unemployable. And that's not racist, that's just a fucking fact. There's plenty of talented African-American people, black people, let's say black people. It's like, we should start talking about race in that way, you sort of want to say African-American, like let's balance it, we're talking about this. African-American. No. The fucking Ralph Lauren ads that are going on right now, they're like Asian, black family mixed together with a mother that's like Cuban. Like, you know those fake like Tommy Hilfiger ads, like the Ralph Lauren like family? That's what it is, like I don't even know how this family like mathematically looks like. How did that blend? Oh, they're all adopted. Okay, I guess, sort of. But it's like, what are the odds? It's just... It's infallible. The whole perception of it is infallible. Like giving people that are like marginalized in society at a socioeconomic level the opportunity to rise up because of the most superficial characteristics of their being, and they know maybe that's not the right thing to espouse, but for them personally, it is. Like you could say, maybe it's not the best thing for my community. What Joy Reid and people like that espouse on TV about race. But it's good for their career, and it makes them valuable. And that's kind of fucked up, because essentially they're selling out their own people for a way to leverage their career, like give themselves leverage to further perpetuate their career. And the only way to do that is to espouse more and more lies that are very anti-Malcolm X, self-empowerment. It's the blame game over and over and over again. There was a great Gavin Newsom, Adam Carolla episode where he talks about how like check cashing places are racist. And I'm like, well, what do you mean they're racist? He's like, well, it's like they're prejudiced against Asians and African Americans and people. Like, well, what do you mean? Like, well, because those Asians and blacks can't get IDs. Like they don't have identification. Like, why? What? Well, because of race. Well, what do you mean? Like, I don't understand. And he's like, well, some white people don't have IDs, but like, what's to stop any of those people from going into a bank or opening an account or going to the DMV? I don't understand. What's the racism? It's like, well, just people with limited means. Like, well, a poor white person could do. Yeah, sure. Because like this is the conflation of like poverty with race that is often like used. It's not it's very messed up. And it's also like, it's not about racism. It's about like, no. They're maybe not aware where they can get their ID, or this like, oh, there's no need to ID people because it doesn't help our purpose of having triple, quadruple votes of the same social security number assigned to it for the next election. It doesn't help our perpetuation of the race narrative and all that stuff. So we're going to keep pushing this agenda. And Adam Carolla was like, what about like the Jews? Are they oppressed by by check cashing places because of the ID verification? Like, well, the Holocaust and concentration camps and all this, like, they seem to be doing pretty good right now. And I don't want to speak in general terms, but I don't think anyone's talking about Jewish people being persecuted at check cashing places because of ID verification laws. And Newsom actually backs it up, and it's like kind of goes full circle. Like, anyone can be persecuted at a check cashing place if they're asked for their ID. Like, oh, well, what's the purpose of having IDs? For ID verification. Oh, so that in general is just racist or like not appropriate? Right. And then you kind of look at the logic of that. It's like, that doesn't make any sense. Like, that, well, we have to have something. We have no, that's just anarchy. And that's kind of the deal. When anarchy best fits the system, that's kind of like, that's what you want to espouse. It's like, oh, it's racist. It's crazy. It's anarchy. We have to have some form to prove who you are. Of course. But it's racist if you make these people do it. So I don't know. it's too much. It's too much. There's so much you can just say. It's crazy. Oh my God, these people are just nuts. Okay, so 1776, October 3rd, King George says things aren't going great in the colonies. Seem to be losing some control. We got to get these people to consider rejoining the crown. Surely the Continental Congress or Second Continental Congress is just, there's no authority. They can't do anything. And here we are today. Of course, the Second Continental Congress did. It's all about, plausible, affirmation or just the confidence in the system. Confidence in 13 colonies, self-governance, belief in what's happening. That's kind of what's going on. But Arizona sent alternative electors to Congress. 7 states, Nevada, Arizona, Georgia, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, Michigan did. All of them did this, probably to keep the opportunity open for Trump to possibly do something on January 6th. Once the electoral votes are cast, they are sent to Congress, where both houses will convene on January 6th, as I said, for a session presided over by Vice President Mike Pence. The envelopes from each state in the District of Columbia will be opened and the votes will be tallied. If at least one member of each house objects in writing to some electoral votes, the House and the Senate must meet and separately debate the issue. Both houses must vote to sustain the objection for it to matter, and the Democratic-led House is unlikely to go along with any objections to votes for Biden. Otherwise, the votes get counted as intended by the states. So this is what could potentially happen, a la 1960 JFK and Nixon. 2 slates electoral colleges from Hawaii, I think it was 3 electorates. There are 3 electorates from Hawaii. Everyone thought Nixon won. Certified votes, governor stamped them, sent them out. Legal challenges were pending as today. There are legal challenges in these states. Turns out JFK won, had to send out new electoral votes. Nixon was VP at the time, did not count the JFK votes. So Pence could theoretically do the same thing or say, I don't believe in these votes. What say you? And then it extends the process. I don't know that it'll do that. But I would like some, if he were to do that, I'd like to see something more. The problem is that nothing's gone to court. So it's very frustrating to get some sort of verification of this alleged voter fraud at the court level. It's all been denied. So it's all alleged fraud, which just makes the media, gives them a huge upper leg in saying, oh, this isn't real fraud. Of course, something's really proven until you're in court and a judge has ruled on it. So you're kind of stuck in this limbo of, well, we have the hammer, we have the body, and we have the husband at the scene of the crime, but that's not really evidence. Of course it is. It's alleged. Here's the reversion to the mean. Likelihood, Occam's razor. Crazy shit. The allegation of fraud, or fraud being perpetuated by a Democratic Party or by a party in the United States for their own purposes, and the idea that you're espousing fraud in an election that undermines the very system are both extreme outliers based on historical contextualization of our elections, more or less. So there's this reversion to the mean. How do you justify either or and not maintain order? Well, in this country right now, we already have, craziness going on. Police shutting, health inspectors shutting down businesses, people forced to stay home. We have less and less confidence in the system. If this continues in 2021, I'm not sure that people are just going to roll over. Some people will, like, oh, I dealt with Obama and Hillary. I can deal with or Obama and Biden. I can deal with this Kamala Biden bullshit. I heard Hillary's laughing her ass off, and she's like, "How the hell did Biden that nut job?" I mean, I have like little tremors and stuff like that. This guy doesn't remember his name half the time, and he got in. And they're only picking him so they can move it to a female VP. I was the female president. Female VP takes over for mentally incompetent Biden through the 25th Amendment or some sort of variation thereof. I was that person. I'm supposed to be the first female. She's like, wow, like how did him? It's like, well, you're kind of annoying. No one likes you. Like the Clinton crime family's over. Your husband's. If it weren't for the Monica Lewinsky thing, yes, I think you'd have definitely be in there. But more and more stuff we hear about the Clinton crime family, it just didn't do well. And then the email scandal, if the email scandal happened and Bill Clinton didn't exist, I think you'd be in there, Hillary, provided you had the stature, all things considered, ex parte of your husband and his career path. I don't know. Oh my God, I don't know. But yeah, so Biden has 306 electoral votes. Trump has 270. It's interesting. Back in 2016, Trump was the fifth president candidate in American history to have lost the popular vote and won the electoral college. So anything's possible. But it's a crazy world we live in. This is nutso land. Nutso land. I mean, I can't say anything more than that. It's nuts. I don't know. I don't have much more to say about it. It's absolutely crazy. No more talk about the aliens right now. Aliens. I wish we talked more about the aliens. I wish someone Mr. Trump, if is it true if your party wasn't alleging voter fraud, we might be talking more about the aliens? And if so, once January 6th happens and we get past that in the last 14 days of your presidency, will you mention more about the aliens? How did Julian Assange pardon? Oh my God! I mean, if you're gonna pardon Russ Ulbricht, who allegedly had a hit out on someone who might be fucking with his game, like a competitor or something, fuck that guy. Give $70,000 hit. I think was one of the allegations. And you're gonna let Assange rot in jail? The guy's already gone through hell. He lived at in an office in London and couldn't leave for 10 years. Was it 7 years? It's the guy's gone through hell. All he did was pull an Edward Snowden. I mean, yes, there might be more allegations that American lives were cost because of Assange, Snowden. No one substantiated that any American, foreign dignitaries or service members from the CIA or doing special ops were harmed by the prison program being presented to the public by Snowden. But still, man. Trump, I feel I thought Trump would be really funny if Trump just started moonwalk practicing in a dance studio underneath the Oval Office, one of the lower levels of the White House or the Pentagon. He just would go there once a week and just practice a moonwalk so that something amazing would happen and it would prove that there was fraud, and then he just moonwalks, he's about to concede to Biden, raise his hand, and then he calls Fox and CNN to drop the story that's unfalsifiable, and he's about to shake his hand, and then they play it on the screen, and then he just walks back and then it's and then oh my God, and then the left will be that's so inappropriate, unpresidential for him to moonwalk like that. It doesn't matter that Biden's killed people and whatever, not that would be the case, but something horrible. He coerced, had this whole game plan of releasing the virus with China to become president. Debbie Wasserman Schultz was involved, and the whole crime family was involved. Clintons and everything. They pushed this whole thing, and it's he knew about it, and the whole Russia thing was to take attention off of China. Russia does everything. They're the hackers. They're everything. China does nothing wrong. Can't wait to open up our borders again and get cheap labor and inflate the dollar. Woo, yay, China. We really want them to be running the show in the free market economy. I had one. Didn't I have a good joke? I know I had a joke I wanted to say. Damn, I don't know. Subscribe down below. I'll see you next week. All right, Benben out. Bye.